Alright, welcome back. We're going to do another video on here on building the Boss snowplow. Decided to try something a little different this time. Instead of having somebody else put it on, I decided, well, maybe I'll just do it myself. A little bit cost effective, but mostly if I can learn how this plow goes together, I can help try to better troubleshoot or repair this thing when it goes bad later on, if and when that happens. We keep these plows pretty long, so if I know where the wiring was and how it was ran, and there's a problem, I can easily point to it rather than try to whim somebody else through it. So this thing actually showed up in this box here. I've just kind of taken it apart out of the box and just kind of spread stuff out because it did get rained on yesterday. So you had the A-frame here. That's separated from this piece here. I'm not sure exactly what they call this. There's no name on it. But I don't know, hinge holder we'll call it. Sure. And then you got your two blade wings on either side. It looks like the silver pin, gold colored pin connects through the rings here on each end and connects to that frame there. Then the A-frame will connect to this point with this big pin and a nut on the other side. This is what tensions the springs. The springs go into the holes here for the trip and up into there with the big hook. And then the upper structure here kind of comes as a piece. Wiring and everything's already out of it. Got the light bar over here. There's the strip springs. There's the return springs. This is the hardware kit. The lift cylinders and the angle cylinders. And then I got the truck lighting here. I'm not sure exactly what this is. Controller, more, I don't know, quite honestly. And then the truck mount, I'm assuming, is this one right here and this big box. So I gotta start to put all this together. It's gonna be a learning curve for both of us, but it did quite assembled. I was kind of surprised. So this will be next week's project. I'm gonna probably put the plow together. And then I'll get the truck in here up on the lift. Been doing some cleaning. Get that up in here and get the undermount on. I have another truck already, actually two trucks, that already have all the same undercarriage on it, because that's for 2017 and up, F3, F2, 3, 4, 550, it's all the same. So we're going to get them mounted up. I have a couple of trucks to reference off of, but my understanding is it should be mostly, I'll call it plug and play, but bolt and unbolt and put stuff on. The cool thing about this plow that we opted for was this downforce. So what we'll be able to do, instead of like most plows where you put the plow down, when you back drag, it kind of rides up. This one, you put it down, you can put pressure down and back drag and get a better scrape. So that's something cool and different about this plow. It's something that you can't do with a chain drive, or not chain drive, but a chain lift with a cylinder like a Western or something like that. So that's what we got. We'll get going on this. Okay, back on the plow install now. It's been a few days since I filmed the first part, and honestly I was just messing around. I had to move this thing over to make room for my next project, but I got this front piece on. I did was kind of stand the blade up straight on end. Got these little 2x4 kicker type things on here. Tilted the blade up and then just that one big pin right down through the center. Just screws in right there with a bolt. Just slips right through. And that's the first part done. So the next part is going to be that A-frame, but we're going to circle back because I got some other things to take care of. But so far, moving slowly, but moving. You know, every time I do a project like this, I always say, you know what, I'm not going to work on this today. I'll work on it tomorrow. And then an hour and a half goes by and I'm still working on it, and I'm getting to the point where I'm almost done. So now I'm like, I might as well just keep going. So, push bar is in, pin, bolted, 3/4 inch wrench. All right, so that's all done. That holds the mold boards together. This also does take grease through these pins here. I have a special fitting that goes in there. It's just a point. Okay, so those went on. Then the A-frame went into the push bar with the big bolt down below here. Where is it? Now it's tucked in. It's hidden right now. It's up in here. Okay, so that went together like that. Then the next thing I did was clip this bar on. There's a rounded bar inside there with the hook. Just hook that on, pull it in. Put the eyelets through here. Pick the bar up a little bit. And then you can put those on. I tightened those down. Just got them to where they were showing about the same amount of thread on each end. Before I did the springs, I put this cylinder in. Make sure you put the hoses facing forward. And with it in the extending going down, because that's the position it goes. After that, put the angle cylinders in, 2 bolts on either end, and then I just put these return springs up. So the next thing after this is going to be putting this A-frame in, or the light tower. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not, but that's what it looks like right now, and we're going to continue on. Well, she's all together now. I got her on our truck 18, which is not the truck it's going to go on, but it is the same exact truck, so I figured I'd just do a test run, get the plow done. Got the lights adjusted, all the hoses on. I went a little extra and put these plastic covers on everything to make sure that this thing did not rub and leak. Everything's together now. It sits good on the ground in the V. In scoop mode, it does have a little bit of a gap, but I think that's going to wear out once it's all done. So everything looks good here. Downforce is looking pretty good. Lighting's on. I got those adjusted. Everything's zip tied up real nice. So that's that. And then I got the big old bow sticker on. Bam! So moving on today to a new project, but I'll also have to circle back and get the plow mount installed. So we're going to take this off because we're done. She's stuck on that side. She's a little bit there. She goes. Down we go. She's ready to come off. Got to unhook the wire. All right, back on the job here. Oh, this thing ain't working real good. Got a gimbal for the iPhone. Putting this plow on this truck. You already saw I put the plow together. So that's one part done. Now I'm working on the frame, which I have. Oh, what the heck. This gimbal is wonk. Oh, here we go. Nope. There's the frame there on the ground. You got to bolt that up to the truck. I don't know this gimbal, man. So I got the bumper off. 8 bolts. No, it's more than 8 bolts. There was 4 bolts on the front here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this thing powered off again.
My wife is stuck away.
Gimbal. 2 more bolts. 4 bolts right there. And then there was 2 bolts on these outside wings you come in from the wheel well. To get those, the bumper pulled off. We had to also disconnect the glow plug light, or not glow plug light, the cord for the glow plug that goes into the bumper because it's partially attached. So we got that going. The next step, it looks like I'm gonna unbolt this right here, remove this inner piece, and then my plow frame brackets are gonna go on. And they said I can't run the wire through there, but I'll figure out a way. So that's what we got. And the gimbal is breaking. Okay, the first side plate's on. So what I had to do was remove these 2 nuts for the sway bar. All right, those come off. And then I had to remove some hardware here for this front bracket. There's some stuff like this. Where did I put it? Stuff like this had to come out. Oh, it's probably on this side. These bolts here that hold something together, I don't know. Tow hook, remove those. And this just bolts back up with their grade 8 on either side, and then a larger bolt in the back.
Let's go, let's get it done. Boom, boom, boom. All right.
Okay, plow frame is mounted, almost done. So we went over this. There was an extra bolt back in there. It comes from the bottom up. that I didn't see until after. Both sides are on. That's what it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on either side. All right, so I got those all tightened down. And I got the push bar in here. I'm up on the lift, so it's kind of hard to put this thing at the right height, but I basically brought a level from the runway over, measured from the center of the hole. It says right in the book. Here I got a standard duty plow, 15.5 inches. I got 16 right now, the way it sits. So I really can't change much there. And it's got like 1-inch increments. So we're gonna leave it. That's what my other F550 set to, so that's what we're gonna roll with. These bolts, they don't give me enough. So like these ones aren't even tight back in here yet. These ones on the front are tight, and I don't have enough. I'm short. Well, I got one of those. I'm short 2 of the locking nuts, so we're gonna get more bolts. Fill this all the way up. 8 per side, so it's really beached up. There's no point in leaving these holes open. So that's that. The next step, I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna wire this thing in. I think I'm gonna start by getting the wiring out to here, which is where I want it, and then work my way up. Okay, 4 o'clock update. That mount is all done. You can see I put the extra bolts in there on both sides. I also gave it a quick coat of crown, and all the hardware inside there at crown, so it would stay rust free or slow it down at least. So I fully bolt that thing on. I don't think there's any point not doing it other than to save a couple bucks. I went to the hardware store, picked up some grade 8 bolts and nuts, got it together, no problem. So that's all done underneath the undercarriage. There really ain't much here to it. This is it, you're looking at it. This cross beam and these 2 adapters, depending on what vehicle you have, bolted up pretty quick. So after that, I've been working on the headlights. I pulled those out on both sides and got those things wired in. You got the truck adapter. And then behind that, you also have another thing you got to do is you got to tap into this turn signal. So on our Ford trucks, the turn signal acts as a marker light and acts as a turn signal. So on the left side of the vehicle, I tapped into 2 wires. I tapped into the turn signal, and that was a purple wire. And then I tapped into the park lamp, which was a pink wire. That would be on the Plow wiring harness side. All right, that went to a green and blue. I just took a test light to figure out which pin it was. And then also, they provided these Scotch locks. But as you can tell, if you're paying attention, these I did not use because I think they're garbage. So left those things where they were. They had the bullets. I ended up cutting the bullets off, and I used heat shrink butt connectors, connected it all together, just did 2 wires in 1 slot, and got that to work. Verified at the plug using the wiring diagram that I have online because they didn't ship me one for whatever reason. They mixed it up. All right, so I verified with the pin orientation here and the colors, violet, yellow, pink. I knew pink was the right side, I knew violet was the left, and I knew that yellow was my turn, or my park lamp, which when you follow it from here over to here, this is the plow side, this is the truck side. When you pick it up over here, everything matches up. So that's what I was doing there. Headlights don't work yet because I have to wire that little toggle switch in, which I'm not going to do. Traditionally, they just pop the switch right there. I'm going to put it up on one of these upfitter switches, which is going to be less of a run for me because that all is right here other than... So the only thing coming into the cab at this point is going to be the plow controller harness. The rest of it is not. If you're looking to take these headlights out like I did to hook up your wiring, everything, I just kind of got tucked behind there, nice and zip tied up. These headlights have 4 bolts that hold them in. You have to pull out the grill to get to it. So you got some pins, some bolts up top, and then there's these push tabs on the bottom. Whole thing pops out. You got 2 bolts back behind. This is the grill here. Back behind the grill. One up top right there, and then one that's snuck down inside. Where is it? There it is, right there. That one. That one's kind of a bugger to get out with the bumper on. It's really easy when there's no bumper. So I might take that one back out and not even use it because it's in there. On the other side, the thing's stripped out, so it doesn't have a bolt, but the fixture seems pretty tight. So if you got to pull the headlights out for whatever reason, but my suggestion is definitely check your pins and verify that the lights are in fact working before you tuck everything back up there, because that's going to be a pain. I got some cleanup to do across the top here with some wiring. I'm still working on some stuff. I'm hooking up the power for the relays right now. This comes up from the relay down below for the headlight relay. So I just got my solenoid mounted. It's not really a great mount, but I wanted it kind of flat. It's up top. I'm gonna get these things all tidied up real nice. I've been using this truck over here as a reference because this truck was done by somebody else. So I've been just trying to see what they've been doing. I try to do it pretty close to what they had. I'm not exactly on, but you can see solenoids at the top. They all ran battery power all the way over there though, which is different. So that's what we got going. So I'm gonna keep working at this. Maybe get some wiring done today. 5 o'clock update, still working. It's Friday. I should be gone by now, but every project I get into, it's like one more thing, I'll be done. And then all of a sudden it's like 16 hours later and we're done. So we got this hole popped in the firewall. I got the wire pulled through. I gotta figure out a better routing for this, but it's gonna come up over here somewhere. I got plenty of it. I just fished it in there. So that's what that looks like. I gotta finish feeding the wire down the top here. Oh yeah, I got some wire left. So what I'm gonna do is basically make an auxiliary switch just for everything Plow, which will be controller, lighting, all that sort of stuff, which is this stuff right here. So I'm gonna hook this up to the auxiliary. This was a lot shorter. This should be in the cab, but I'm gonna put it right in here, where that is, just to make this really, really easy for later. So yeah, this is the upfitter box here. Got the wires coming out the back of it. You know, I got aux 1 and reverse are on there right now, so I'm gonna do the same thing again, but with these, and that'll be just labeled Plow. So if the controller won't power on, first thing to check, make sure the auxiliary switch is on. That'll hit the headlights as well. So if you turn the Plow controller on, you're gonna have headlights no matter what. So that's what we got with that. Solenoid's all wired in. I got it covered in some battery terminal silicone type stuff, dielectric grease. So we're getting there. Got to get this wiring pulled through the cab and tucked up nice, and then I'm done in the cab. And then I got the wiring. Really, the only wiring left is going to be that auxiliary switch. I got the upfitter switches on the top there. I love these things. They're relay powered, fused, everything. You know, done up nice. I run one wire to where I got to go in the ground, and it's done. So that's what we got. Okay, so I got that wiring done for the auxiliary. So up here on number 3, we have the controller. You can see that's off right now. The position's on top of the controller. Headlights are on. I'll reach up and get this all in one shot. If you look over my arm, you'll see headlights off, controller on. So auxiliary 3, I'm just going to call that Plow, because that's going to do everything. It's also on key ignition, so you know, I turn it off. Everything's off. Nothing stays on. Pretty good fit, I think. This is a good idea I had. So that's that. Let me just show you that real quick. Had to do a little bit of testing to figure out which wire it actually was. So, butt connector here. It's this blue. This is a blue-green. Not to be confused with the green-blue. So to tell, it's a solid blue wire with a green stripe. The stripe is less dominant here, but there is one down there. They come right out of the back of this fuse box here. This is the other end of the wire. So it was just the wire up into the cab and just a continuous circuit. What I found, this gray wire with the red stripe was keyed power for the controller. So when I put that on power and I tested to see where power was coming from. I basically just gave it power to the one coming back. So this one right here, keyed power, this would be light up, is power to it. All right, then this other wire was the power return, and that's the one I did. So now I'm gonna take a label maker and make the labels for this as well. So in a couple of years, when I forget what's what, I can easily figure that part out. So I think I'm gonna be done for today. I'm gonna label that real quick. All my work underneath the hood's done. I'm gonna make sure that's all closing good. And then I gotta deal with that, the bumper, the body panels, that kind of stuff, putting that all back together. But it's almost 6 o'clock now, so I'm gonna wrap up for today. And the label, so we don't forget, Plow keyed power. Fold that down there, the rest of them, and that one too. I took out trying to figure out what I had going on here. So that's that up in there. Oh, let's see, I don't need the test light anymore. Toss that out of the way. So there's the wiring job. I had to move some stuff around here, but power comes up or down to the plow controller or the plow harness out front. The front bumper, stuff goes across the other way for the right headlight. I also had a lot of extra wire for the solenoid, so I'm just kind of rolling it down there and tying it up. So that's that. We got a mess on the floor, zip ties. I'm very particular about the zip ties, so I end up going through a lot of them. So, this looked better when I first did it. But that's that. Just runs across and donezo. Make sure all this stuff closes is the next thing, which it should. So, looking good. Okay, Monday morning back on the project. You can see this kind of looks like a truck again. We got the bumper back on. I got the grill back in, and then there's a top cover right on top of the grill. Kind of goes in between the radiators. Just a plastic cover type thing. So that's been replaced. Back in place. Grill's done. I'm working on the bumper now. So first thing I did was the bumper on the ground. I cut out this hole a little bigger. I'm probably going to make this just a little bit bigger so I can pull these through. These are going to get mounted to this D-ring. All right, I got some bolts back in. And then I just trimmed this out just enough to where I could get some clearance to get this thing back in place. These are going to have to get trimmed out much wider to be able to fit the ears of the snowplow in. But my next challenge is up in here. So you see the plow frame here is hitting the bumper and this valance thing. So I got to just trim this because I can't get the bumper down far enough to get the bolts in. On both sides, you can see it's hitting. So I'm about to fire up the grinder. We're going to notch that out. I got some bolts in place so it shouldn't fall off the truck, but we're going to make this real nice. That's what we're working on, and we should have this thing done by, I don't know, hopefully less than an hour. Almost 9 o'clock. All right, and then I got to do the wiring connection and tie that loose wire up right there. Okay, bumper is re-secured. I got the wiring done here. I got the bracket mounted, just a little weld on the D-hook. We're not going to probably end up using that D-hook ever anyway. And if we need to pull it, we'll pull with that hook, which is what we've done on all the other trucks. This gives me a nice, good mount. You know, it's kind of tough sometimes to push 13 pins together in one shot. So that's that. I got that primed, waiting for that to dry so I can paint it black. Got the wiring in here all tucked up and zip tied up out of the way. It's not rubbing on anything. And I'll take my flashlight before I lose that thing. And my next and final thing here is going to be cutting out for these hookup ears. So I went out to the plow, I measured it. It's about 3 1/4. I gave myself an extra quarter on each side, so I measured it to 3 3/4 wide. Centered it off that, and we're going to cut them out right now with this little guy. Multi-tool. I don't really typically use this thing much. I didn't think I'd use it much in automotive, but actually it's come in quite handy for cutting out stuff and just trimming stuff like this. So we're gonna zip those out, and that's the last thing. I gotta hook it up to the truck and build them out for the controller, but that doesn't necessarily need to be done today. So let's get this done with. All right, here we are. Bringing her out for the maiden voyage over there to hook up the plow. Got those cut out nice and square. Got that mounted up good. Zip tie it up. And we're gonna go hook her up to the plow, see how that goes. Okay, well, just got her hooked up. hardest part of these whole things is getting the goddamn truck lined up. But now that's done, we got her all hooked up. Everything slid together. I had to give that pin a little bit of a boot to get her going, but I don't think there's much I can do about that. You can see the wiring here. I might be able to secure this a little bit better, but for the most part, it's not really in the way. It's not hitting anything or rubbing on anything. It's a pretty smooth transition. I got to get another cap for that other side of the line, but overall, looks pretty good. So let's go into the truck and fire it up. See how she goes on the truck. Feels. Headlights are on. She moves. That's a good sign, huh? Sure looks good up there, huh? See how she looks with that, and we'll do 4 ways just to see what that all looks like. So the functions are all right. I got 4 ways flashing. She's sitting flat on the ground like a beauty. So let's do a left and a right just to make sure we're not backwards. I don't think we are, 'cause the tech just got back to me and said whatever wire I hooked up. That's the right side. And the left side. Left side's working. Let's go no turn signal. I can't really check high beam, but I suppose I could. Let's see if there's an orange running light up here. Okay, so it's that this white light up top. That is the running light that I tied into with a turn signal. I'm gonna go off completely. No headlights at all. High beams I checked on the wall. They come on, so all the functions are there. Everything looks good. I think this is a wrap here. Getting this Boss DXT, installing this F550. This has been a good project. Probably about 1 whole day in, 8 hours or so, maybe 9. Started this on Friday. It's Monday now, but I was on and off with those guys doing other stuff. So I'm just gonna check the downforce because this Plow has downforce on it. Just gonna see how that works. I haven't really figured out the strategy for that. I think it's, right now it's in float mode. If I tap it twice, there it goes. Picking the truck up. Put her straight out. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's working. All right, good deal. So we'll call this a wrap. This one's in the books. The only left I got to do is make the mount for the controller, but that's not absolutely necessary. And then, I got to label these auxiliary switches. I'll turn that off. You see the controller will shut off. So that's my keyed power source. So overall, I'm pretty happy. Would I do it again? Yes, I would. Gives me that flexibility to mount it how I want to mount it, not how they at the dealers want to mount it. Because they're trying to get these things on as fast as they can and sell as many as they can, which is fine. But and definitely no shot at the people that I had bought the Plow from. I think they're good people and they do pretty good installs. We've had them do a couple plows for us, but I figure if I can understand how the plow goes together, understand where things are, how they were wired, how things are ran, when it becomes later on down the road when there is going to be problems, which you know there will be, I'll know where to start looking. I'll know how to take stuff apart. I'll know how stuff goes together to make that whole transition just a little bit smoother. And the more I can learn how the plow goes together, the better. So we're going to wrap this video up. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned. We'll probably get some footage of this eventually. I want to definitely compare the back dragging ability with this downforce versus any of my other. I got another DXT 9'2" on an F550, my twin truck to this. We're gonna try that out and compare the downforce. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.